Well, hey there! Hello there, Ryan from the Frogman YouTube. I have been on a soul-searching journey trying to figure out where the best direction for my life is, and I figured out the best way to go is not a college education or any respectable method. The best way is to sell your soul! You really only have to answer to one person and everything else just gets dictated for you. And a lot of my new career path follows closely to the hit indie game Cult of the Lamb, where you can start your own cult, have multiple different followers, pretend to be loved, and do with them as you please. Even you too could gain omnipotent power by following the steps of the game. It's easy peasy, praise Lord Jeezy. I tell you what. I guess they don't like that name here.
The game starts out exactly how you'd expect. Getting sacrificed to stop a prophecy from coming true. So, like Tuesday. You get killed and find it's really not that bad as you meet a new friend who gives you a magical hat that gives you demon powers. Right away, you're slicing through enemies and getting a feel for the world around you in a great tutorial that also acts as the first area of the game.
Personally, I really enjoy the no-nonsense introduction into the game. You get a feel of how you're supposed to move and how combat is supposed to work, all in the same moments you're learning about the world you live in. It's really fun to just get out there and murder sometimes. I'm never gonna become president after that.
Finishing off the first area, you're introduced to the base and center of your cult. Animal friends you find in the levels are able to be brought back and indoctrinated into your cult, providing resources and divine stuff. Fill me with your whiteness! Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Stop.
Anyway.
You don't get to say anyway and move on from that.
Anyway, this white stuff is important. This allows you to construct buildings and temples to care for your followers and strengthen both yourself and your followers' devotion. The game strikes a very fine balance, trying to keep the welfare of your cult in mind, while also trying to find the best route forward for gaining power, as those two things are only sometimes mutually exclusive. To the left and right. That's quite the hell of a thing to put next to sleeping bags. You, as the leader, are able to cook meals and provide shelter to care for your cult. And the progression of upgrades that you can get follows pretty naturally to the needs of your cult members as things progress. One thing I did not expect in this game is you're supposed to care for all the followers you get. But they also take shits everywhere before you can get an outhouse.
Sounds personal.
They're doing it right now! Stop! Why are you shitting right where you eat, you animals? I guess that answered that question, but...
I was gonna say...
That being said, I have an objection to how the game prioritizes certain needs. Why is the shitter so far down? It takes so long to figure out to dig a hole so we can shit in it. This may be a very small sticking point, but to get to the outhouse, you need to get to level 3 in your cult, and even then, it costs advanced materials, which takes so much stuff to get. And I personally don't want to be stepping around in my cult members' filth all day.
I mean, forgive me for thinking that I need Satan to tell me to dig a hole so I can
Regardless, all of that is a side piece to the main attraction, the actual demonic warships. In the temple, you're able to assemble your members, gain more devotion, and rank up your abilities in the crusades. This is directly where you use the devotion of your followers to weaponize yourself and solve all of your problems.
Because naturally, everything can be solved by a little bit of devil worship.
Hey Ryan, why was this video a couple days late?
Almost everything.
If there's anyone who rolled their eyes at the base building portion of the game, this will snap you right back into it, because the temple and commandments that you gain through the temple open up combat in a big way. Through the commandments, you gain abilities to gain faith, and gaining faith allows you to gain devotion, and with more devotion, you're given the opportunity to gain more magic curses, and with more curses means more weapon variety, and that is just fun to me. Something about getting used to a weapon and magic combo gives me a cathartic sensation that makes me happy I never turned to drugs. Jesus Christ. Even though the combat is effective and fun, you can't forget about your little members at home. Especially because your enemies often put plagues on your camp that require your immediate attention, given some urgency to the mission. Even without the plagues, things can and often will go wrong. You'll return to find members sick, dissenting, dead, or even worse, hungry. It's through these desperate times or through a quest that you'll learn various different foods that you can feed your cult members, like berry bowls or other dead members.
Yeah, that is tragic. Luckily, though, we have dinner for tonight.
It's here I learned not to be too precious with the life and values of my members, as sickening as that sounds. You're told that they're simply a resource for you to exploit, and you are very much encouraged to do that, fulfilling their requests no matter how weird they... Aside from deadly dishes, grass gruel, and dead friend flambe, you're also able to give your members actual shit to eat. And I can't understand why.
Luckily, we have dinner for tonight. Overall, Cult of the Lamb is very gosh darn fun. It doesn't compromise in its cultish ways, definitely having that cute exterior with the really messed up things happening. It really never lets up that you are definitely killing these things, and rather sadistically at that. But it's all balanced out by the very appealing art style that it goes for. And I'll be honest, I crack a smile every time my little sheep boy has to sweep up some vomit. He looks like he's having such a good time picking up somebody else's sick. The different tarot cards and mantles that you can get shake up the combat and dungeons so effectively. Every single time you go into a crusade, it feels like a brand new type of challenge waiting to be solved. The magic and weapon combos are amazing and super cathartic to learn how to do each one, because the random nature of the entire dungeons makes it so that nothing you do is ever quite the same. Sure, it does get samey after a while. You do end up jumping into a room and fighting all the bad guys with your various magic and weapons available, but at the end of the day, it feels distinct enough to be super fresh every time you go in. The base building part of it, I think, is also pretty well done. I object a little bit to resource farms breaking after a couple bit of uses, but I guess that's how they nerf those things, because if you just had a steady stream of those all the time, I suppose you would get stuff pretty instantly no matter what. And you do definitely have to manage your time. The crusades and the base part intermix between each other very well, because time does pass while you're out on crusades, and you have to balance exploration with the idea of getting back to your little babies so you can feed them. All in all, I couldn't recommend this game anymore. The combat and the base building complement each other so well, you can't have one without the other, and the base building gives such good quality downtime from the high action combat that the game provides. And this just may be the demon inside of me growing and talking nonsense, but getting combos in this is so fun. I mean, like, Jesus Christ! They balance the magic and weapons so... Oh, they still don't like me saying that name, but thankfully that's only 2 strikes out of 3, so I should be fine. Son of a